Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Hey, let me talk about Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? El Chacal for those, for some, or for most. And for me and my little 6 subscribers, you know, it's Taz. Because everybody ran away from the boy his whole career. You know, when Taz come, everybody run. It's Taz. Same thing. Man, he runs all them weights down there. Bantam, super bantam, or whatever, or junior feather, and all that stuff. And he could go all the way down to 115 if somebody was talking smack. The man's 40 years old right now, about to fight at 118 pounds. Right? He's the lineal champ, lineal, at 122. Even though he never lost at 122, when he went up from 122 to 130, which tells you how small he is because he's at 40 years old at 118 right now. So going up 2.5 weight divisions to meet Lomachenko is his only loss, right? He stopped in the 6th round. His hand was hurt, and I would have stopped too because I ain't fighting the best pound for pound dude, and he wouldn't even meet me at 126 pounds, which should have been 124 pounds. And since I'm way up here, then I'm definitely not going to fight hurt. Well, I live to fight another day, and he hasn't been beat in his weight classes. But anyway, when he went up there and he came back down to 122, they took his belt. IBF took his belt, right? I didn't lose at 122, right? See what I'm saying? That's why I'm glad he's still a neo champ. Everybody knows he's the baddest one at 122, but really 118 is where he's more comfortable. Hence, I'm there at 40 years old. Whatever weight you at 40 years old is your weight. Because you ain't going to be trying to get to no weight at 40 years old. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, he has a fight in the 118-pound division against my boy John Rio Casimiero. Right? the dude is he's tough, man. He's 30-4 with 21 KOs, but he's just tough. You know, he's just a tough Ricardo Mayorga type of dude. He's coming at you. He's throwing some stuff. He's colorful. The fight's going to be exciting because of Casimiero, right? But Rigondeaux is saying, guys, because, Rigondeaux gets this, he's a boring fighter, which we all know is sour grapes, right? Because I'm hitting you and you're not hitting me, and stop being so talented. Stop moving. You hit me and I hit you back. That kind of stuff. Stand still and fight. Well, this is boxing. We can do some other stuff at a bar, but boxing. So, he would get called boring after. Go watch the fight that they called him boring. When he beat Nonito Donaire, number 3 pound for pound, and Nonito Donaire was bigger than him. And he beat the hell out of him. And then they called him boring and blackballed him after that fight. Hence, he's a Negro League fighter. Right? Why do you blackball somebody by beating number 3 pound for pound, a bigger dude, right? Don't you think Tyson Fury fights similar to Guillermo Rigondeaux with a little less power and bigger than everybody? So, if you don't like Rigondeaux, you better not like Tyson Fury. That's just simple. If you don't like Rigondeaux and you like Tyson Fury, then you know what you are. Bottom line, it should be impossible. It should be impossible. Y'all know what the time that is. But anyway. Rigondeaux about to fight Casimiero on August 14th, and it's going to be a big fight. Now, the reason why we're talking about Rigondeaux is here, right? Your boy Nonito Donaire won a good fight, and I forget against who, but he won a good fight. He's a 38-year-old champion. He's a real champion. So they moved Guillermo Rigondeaux out of the fight with Casimiero and just said we'd rather have Nonito Donaire versus your boy Casimiero. And that was supposed to go down. Just move Rigondeaux out. Like, so what? You out of it. And the monster Inoue didn't say, well, let me fight Rigondeaux. He didn't do it either. So he was like, said, I'll sit and wait for the winner of Casimiero and Nonito Donaire. And thank God they got into some arguments, some some disputes and stuff that I wouldn't have to get into here, some insults going back and forth, and that fight was canceled. But then we pulled Rigondeaux back up. And Rigondeaux said, yeah. You see what I'm saying? Always ready. Like, I'm about to fight Casimiero for a title, unification. Then all of a sudden, they say, no, you're not. We're just kicking you out of the tournament, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm back in the tournament. And I'm not saying, well, no, not this time. Yeah, I'm ready again, right? This is the kind of stuff that happens to him, right? So, here's another thing. Guillermo Rigondeaux is the WBA regular title holder in that bantamweight division, right? And so he's going to fight unification against the WBO champ, Casimiero. Now, the WBO, the leader, the president, I forget his name, Valcarez or Varacol or something like that. I forget his name. But he's coming out saying, "Hey, this is not a unification. We're not gonna recognize the WBA regular title." Yeah, okay. I would have no problem. There should never be no regular titles. But don't the WBO, don't y'all got a global? Y'all got a global title too. Everybody got something. Some extra, but instead of just the damn title, right? WBA, y'all, they tripping because they got the regular and the interim, but WBC got some stuff. We look at franchises and that new global. I done told you guys. I said, I've told you on several occasions, it's about 9 or 10 championships right now. I probably can look. Let me just do them off the top. We got the WBA, WBC, IBF, and the WBO. Those are the main ones. But that IBO and that IBA coming through the back door, that give us 6. Throw that global, who he's complaining about, that global on there, 7. You got the gold champion, 8, for one of the sanctioned bodies. I forget which one. And I'm missing one. And the regular for the WBA, that's 9. And I didn't even mention some stuff like interim and all that. Just leave that out of there. That's 9 people in every weight division can stand up and say they had some kind of champion. All kind of stuff going on, right? So the WBO president is saying he's not going to recognize WBA. That's cool. But it's just the point is sometimes, when a brother got a title, it's different. A little bit different, right? But it's cool, right? It's cool because I remember Pacquiao had that regular title in the welterweight. Everybody was kind of cool with it until Ugas was the regular champion. Then all of a sudden, hey, man, you ain't no champion because Ugas got happy. He's like, I got what Pacquiao had. I'm cool. Well, hey. And celebrate a little bit. People was on Ugas real quick. Like, you ain't got no title. So my point is they shouldn't be, right? Just like Gervonta Davis, too. Gervonta Davis ain't no 135-pound champion. He's got a regular title. He ain't no 140-pound champion. He beat the other dude, Barrios, and Barrios had a regular title. Because, listen, you can't have no championship in 140 pounds, right? Because we have an undisputed champion in Josh Taylor. So it's a lot of regulars going around. Trevor Bryan is the regular heavyweight champion. Nobody talk about no Trevor Bryan or Mahmoud Char and none of that. So we should do away with all of them and just stay with the 4 we got. 4 is enough. It's hard enough to deal with those 4. So if you don't want to recognize it, cool. But don't try to play like, Rigondeaux, like y'all don't know that Rigondeaux is the baddest one in the division, right? Because the ones y'all calling the best, you call it Inouye the best, he don't want to fight him. Nonito Donaire got beat up by him already when he was better years ago, right? And Casimiero, we'll see, but he's 40 years old now, so, for me, Rigondeaux don't have to prove nothing and have to win. But I know for other people, it's like we told you, as soon as the brother loses, we told you when he's 40 years old. But let's see what happens. It's going to be a good fight, and I'm kind of hyped about it because Casimiro's, got 6 straight KOs, and he's a tough guy. So, Rigondeaux going to have to show how good he is to beat a guy like that. Right? But we'll see. Rigondeaux's done it before. We'll see what happens. We'll be talking more about that leading up to that. But let me just go to another Negro League fighter, right? And that'd be Devin Haney, right? Y'all know Devin Haney. Devin Haney's fun. It's funny to be going on with these fighters, man. Because, boxing, people complain about it, but still go and watch their stuff. I'm not one of those. That's why I can't really get down with the boxing and be going live with the boxing is on and stuff. Because I ain't watching it. It's full of crap. You know what I mean? It's full of crap. Man, stuff that be going on, they got these little stuff like, you say mandatories. Mandatories supposed to want to fight the champion, right? Devin Haney, it's really funny, right? Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell, right, to become the interim champion and the mandatory for Devin Haney. And he just didn't mention Devin Haney. Never wants to fight Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Manny Pacquiao, anybody, but just not Devin Haney. To get the championship. That's what you fought for. No. So he got a fight with Javier Fortuna, and then he got sick. He said he has depression and anxiety. Okay, cool. People gonna believe him a little bit. Cool, whatever. Right? But I told you when he come back, he gonna want something. We're gonna want to fight somebody easier than Javier Fortuna. But okay, he probably didn't. So now Ryan, your boy is Jojo Diaz, went and studied and got the fight with Javier Fortuna because Ryan Garcia wasn't there. He beat Javier Fortuna, and close fight, I thought, but he beat him. So he's the mandatory for Devin Haney, right? He ain't trying to fight Devin Haney either. He's trying to fight Ryan Garcia, who's coming off of anxiety. So there's two mandatories for Devin Haney, and they trying to fight each other in the fall. So that's not really newsworthy to me because it's like, if they fight, I ain't watching it. How's two mandatories not one fight the champion in Devin Haney? You don't have to fight. You can fight, get the championship. That's what we're doing. Get them both out of there. Then, if y'all gonna be mandatories and not want to fight the champion, then give us a mandatory that does, and demote these guys. But here's the deal: every time I go read boxing news, right? And probably you guys too. If you found me, you know what time it is. Look, when you read articles, you know what names they're not mentioning. Like I was what the Jojo Diaz versus Ryan Garcia article that I read, and I said to myself, there will be no mention of Devin Haney in this article. There just won't be. And I just read the article and just laugh. If I read the article about Dillian White, there will be no mention of Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, which will be the biggest fight, non-championship fight in heavyweight boxing right now. Right? But he just won't mention Louis. Okay, won't happen. Right? Devin Haney, if it's a Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez, both of them, about to fight each other again through a lot of stuff that happened. But no Devin Haney. No mention of Devin Haney. Teofimo Lopez could have fought him for undisputed. Right? Lomachenko, after losing to Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo Lopez wanted to go fight Kambosos. Lomachenko should have been asked for Devin Haney so he can beat Devin Haney and go tell Teofimo Lopez, yeah, when we fight now, I got a belt now and we can be undisputed. Right? But they know we don't have to fight Devin Haney because they're going to call us undisputed anyway. Right? So, it's hard to watch. I know when I read an article about Canelo, I can scroll down and I'm not going to find any mention of Demetrius Andrade, who's been in his division since they were both babies. Demetrius Andrade been saying Canelo's name since he was a baby. When they took the pacifier out of his mouth, he was Canelo. And nobody knew the hell he was talking about. 20 years later, what? It really is a Canelo. I've been saying that for years too. He's been calling him out forever. Been in the same weight class. There's never no mention of his names in the articles. Right? And believe me, Canelo got $40 million for fighting him for undisputed. Canelo was his mandatory. The same thing Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz is doing right now. Yeah, he was the mandatory at 154 pounds for Andre, and just said, I'm not fighting him. When Andre got stripped because he couldn't get nobody to fight, then he fights Liam Smith. These things are just, so I'm going to watch Canelo? Why would I do that? Right? I ain't watching nobody. That's why, whatever, boxing, whatever. If this supposed to be this ain't no damn boxing channel anyway. I just report some stuff that I'm seeing, and it's most of the time some stuff that's injustice, and this stuff is ridiculous. So we got to just, look at it for what it is. There's really no fights to watch. There really isn't, because there's some shenanigans going down. Like Jojo Diaz, who I like, right? Actually, I like Ryan Garcia too. But actually, I like Canelo too, to be honest. But it's just like when injustices mean injustices. And when I see that the major players are embracing these injustices, like at the beginning of Canelo's career, I thought it was all Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya. But now I'm finding him. He said Demetrius Andrade is a horrible fighter. He's not trying to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's getting out of his contract from DAZN to not fight Demetrius Andrade. You understand? He got a franchise title instead of fighting Jamal Charlo, right? It had nothing to do with Golden Boy. So it's him now. Ryan Garcia, he is not calling out the guy that he's supposed. We don't have to call out a champion. It's written. You're the mandatory. You're supposed to fight the champion. We only have a few instances of this in history. And it's really, I'm just going to leave it out what kind of people those are, but I'm just going to say the names and you figure it out. Ryan Garcia, mandatory. Jojo Diaz, mandatory. Jaime Munguia, mandatory for Demetrius Andrade as we speak right now. Jaime Munguia, also mandatory for Jamal Charlo. And Canelo Alvarez was the mandatory for your boy Demetrius Andrade at 154. Y'all better get that together. Y'all better habla a little bit Espanol and let these boys know what time it is. Because don't we supposed to have something like Mexican style? Right? So somebody better holler at them. Anyway, going back up to the top. Rigo versus Casimiero, August 14th. Rigondeaux just said, listen here. We talk about Casimiro's power and stuff. Like I'm 20 and 1 with 3 KOs. I'm 20 and 1 with 13 KOs. So we should be talking about my power too, because actually, I'm not. Aren't I the guy that breaks jaws and deforms faces and stuff? People forget that just because he's little. So let's see what happens. I think I'm glad to just hear Rigondeaux talking about something, because it's a Negro League fighter. This is a fighter that's been fighting forever, and we know is the very best, and they just won't tell you about him. And then when he beats somebody, they, instead of saying, hey, we're going to put our money on this guy, and we're going to promote him because people don't want to fight him, right? That's what a Negro League fighter is. Just like Andre. The Zone should be like, you know something? We telling on Canelo. Every time we do a advertisement, this guy here is the guy that Canelo doesn't want to fight. We try to get an undisputed fight. We try to pay $40 million. Canelo just refuses to fight him. But you know what they do is they get this information and be like, we cannot tell the public, right? And then you got Bob Arum over there. What does he got on his chalkboard? MBFs, no black fighters. We know all of this stuff. And then you just keep getting this ridiculous stuff in this mainstream media that you're reading. How can I tell you what's in the article? Right? I could tell you what's in the article and what's not before even reading it. Which means it's BS. Sorry. So let's see what happens with Rigo versus Casimiero. Y'all better tune in to that, because that's gonna be a barn burner fight, and it's significant, which is also important. Done with Sports Talk Worldwide. And we up out of here, y'all.